This is the story of how hundreds of thousands of people have been tricked into paying out millions of dollars for worthless degrees.
There are crooks everywhere. You can always fool people across the world.
It's a story of lies, threats, and violence.
How much have you paid? $200, $300, $500,000? How much have you paid?
These people are really bad. These people are thugs.
All my money is paid now.
It's also the story of one of Pakistan's most successful businessmen.
Success is the best revenge.
It's a story of deception, bluff, and double bluff.
Come be a part of Newford University to soar the sky of excellence.
Where nothing is quite what it seems.
From my experience at Oxford University. Because from what I've read, you're part of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of universities that are completely fake.
Getting a degree isn't easy. For most students, it entails years of study and hard work. Now, millions of students are increasingly trying to gain vital qualifications by studying online.
When I was a little girl, I was always fascinated by astrophysics and space.
When done properly, as here on the UK's Open University website, online education can open up opportunities.
Fulfill their career goals too.
In legitimate online universities, students can access genuine high-level teaching from around the world. With these genuine universities, great care is taken to maintain high standards and guarantee legitimacy. But there is another, much easier way of getting a degree.
Salutations to every one of you watching this video right now.
Meet the head of the Department of Law at Newford University, which says it's based in the United States.
We host one of the most renowned faculty in the world.
Newford promises no more marathon study sessions, no more cramming for those dreaded exams, and all at a bargain price.
Our education standards and protocols are constantly revamped to provide our students the very best possible service.
Newford's website claims to have a global presence in over 180 countries. And here's another website claiming to have a global presence in over 180 countries. Must claims to be the world's largest university, which was news to one investigative journalist who specializes in stories about higher education.
Establishing how big the network was took time, and it was something that came step by step by step, and then the floodgates opened. Must University was the first institution that we came across, and so I called them up, and the first hint to me that this was part of the organization, the network, was that they had the exact same hold music.
Benjamin quickly discovered a lot of different university websites with some very curious similarities.
So all the websites for the universities have the same template. They have a banner at the top that says the name of the university. The colors are different. There is a little picture of a woman with a headset ready to take your call. And then they have a little box here that tells you about the kinds of courses that you can do at the university. And the other thing that is very similar is that when you log on to these various websites, they'll do a pop-up and say, we're having a special offer on scholarships, call us now. That happens on every single website.
The websites often feature endorsements from staff like lecturer Ethan Turner at California Port University.
Teaching at California Port University is a great achievement in my academic career. I received excellent...
The thing is, we couldn't find any lecturer called Ethan Turner, or indeed any university called California Port. When you search for the address given on their website, you end up at what actually appears to be a Mexican butcher shop.
I would say it's only obvious when you start to scratch. I was shocked at how obvious it was after just a very small amount of scratching below the surface. But I think if you don't think to scratch, it's not obvious.
Drumont University claims studying here will bring you a step closer toward professional excellence and features a glowing testimonial from one of its students.
Drumont was an awesome experience for me. I was able to earn my PhD in leadership and education administration.
But when we checked out Drumont's address, instead of an impressive university campus, we found a tin shack. On the surface, these websites do look very convincing.
It actually looks very real because there's the same kind of information that Singapore universities have.
If I was an outsider, I would think that this is a real university. And they even have tabs that shows how to contact them, admissions and the fees in this website.
The common denominator between these websites is a company called Exact.
Exact, world's leading IT company, founded in...
So the first time I heard about Exact was from a source of mine in Abu Dhabi. He basically sent me an email saying, I've been offered a scholarship from this university, and it just sounds fishy to me. I checked them out, and the more you found out about them, the more you realize they're dodgy.
Around the world, government regulators like the UK's compliance agency, NARIC, have had to increase vigilance to guard against academic fraud.
One of the issues that has come about with online learning or online provision is that there's been an increase in fraud. We've seen that at UK NARIC over the last 10 years or so with the explosion of online provision. As long as it looks like it might be okay and it's got the right type of feel to it, you can understand why somebody might get conned into thinking that it's a real university.
This is the headquarters of what its owners say is Pakistan's biggest and most successful IT company. To its critics, it's the world's biggest degree mill, selling bogus degrees to hundreds of thousands of gullible customers.
Exact now has a global presence in 6 continents, 120 countries, and 1,300 cities.
Exact, located in the heart of Pakistan's biggest city, Karachi, claims that in less than 10 years it's grown into a billion-dollar company, employing more than 25,000 workers.
और पाकिस्तान की IT exports को $50 billion तक ले जाएंगे.
Exact is the creation of one man, Shoaib Ahmed Shaikh.
In 1997, Mr. Shoaib Ahmed Shaikh embarked on a journey to create a company that would become a household name in every industry.
मैं दुनिया में सबसे अमीर तरीन आदमी बनना चाहता था. बिल गेट्स से ज़्यादा अमीर.
As Sheikh's company grew, so too did his reputation as a leading business mogul in Pakistan.
अब मुझे अमीर तरीन आदमी नहीं बनना. अब एग्जैक्ट कमीशन है जीतना. और जीत के हासिल होने वाले सरमाए को दूसरों की जिंदगी अच्छी करने में लगा देना, अपने मुल्क को अच्छा करने में लगा देना.
Billionaire philanthropist, IT genius, media mogul, there seemed no end to Mr. Sheikh's talents. That's why the nation of Pakistan was shocked to wake up to some astonishing news in May 2015.
एग्जिट के सीईओ शोएब शेख को एफआईए ने हिरासत में ले लिया। दफ्तर सील, मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग, साइबर क्राइम और फ्रॉड के तहत एफआईआर दर्ज होगी।
Sheikh had been arrested and charged with being at the center of an astonishingly complex web of fraudulent activity.
There are allegations that these were all fake degrees, and then just by paying a certain amount of money, you can buy a degree.
Pakistani business mogul Shoaib Ahmed Shaikh stands accused of running a giant fake degree mill. He denies selling bogus degrees around the world and making millions of dollars illegally.
तो मैं आपको पहले बता दूं, एग्जैक्ट ना कोई जाली डिग्री का काम करता है और ना ही एग्जैक्ट किसी असली डिग्री का काम करता है.
This happened in number of countries, even USA, even Canada, in a number of countries. The fake degrees were issued by the people. So this was not for the first time crime in Pakistan. But in this particular case, their entire operation was from Karachi, from Pakistan.
Amar Jafri held a senior position with Pakistan's equivalent of the FBI for nearly 10 years. He has traced the twists and turns of the Exact saga.
Everything was so fancy, the pictures used and all these things was so professional. But definitely the crime was in Pakistan, the criminals were in Pakistan, the money came to Pakistan.
Sheikh insists that Exact simply makes software which businesses of all types, including online universities, can use to find customers. His lawyer says Sheikh cannot be held responsible for what happens between customers and online universities that use Exact software.
The exit function was only to run a call center to render services to that university for providing an information on behalf of the university, respective university, for educations.
And Sheikh's lawyer underlines the fact that his client has not been convicted of any alleged crimes.
If crime has been committed, then it has to be proved. There has to be material that it has to be shown in the trial. This is unfair and unjust.
But when the Pakistani authorities raided Exact's offices in May 2015, they found a mountain of compelling evidence. There were hundreds of thousands of blank degree certificates, lists of hundreds of fake universities, bank accounts showing payments amounting to millions of dollars, and tens of thousands of names and contact details for customers around the world. There were also recordings of hundreds of hours of phone calls where representatives of the fake universities demand payments from often terrified customers.
Now you're just paying an amount of $10,000. For just a small amount, you're actually putting at risk everything else.
For God's sake, listen to me that I have sold my assets to pay this last amount.
The recordings were found on hard drives at Exact call centers. Local media reported that the police also found proof of evidence being destroyed, with documents being burned, files dumped into the sea, and computer hard drives smashed. Despite the arrests and seizure of evidence, many of the online universities linked to Exact are still up and running. And the Pakistani authorities have not taken steps to shut them down. So what exactly goes on in these fake degree operations?
Hello?
Thank you for calling. How can I help you?
Hello, hi. Is this the Al Arab University?
Hello, is that Gatesville University?
Yes, it is. How can I assist you?
To find out, Undercover Asia researchers in London and Singapore made a series of calls to some of the universities linked to Exact's network.
I was told about online universities is where you can sort of get a degree over this flexible.
We presented ourselves as lacking any of the kind of academic qualifications normally required by legitimate universities, but very keen to buy a degree. The response was always immediate and positive.
Yeah, that is possible, Harry. You're connected to the right place. So you're looking for an engineering degree with bachelor's, right?
A bachelor's, yeah.
In the online world, it doesn't take long to find offers that seem too good to refuse.
Okay, so Harry, would you like to take the classes and courses with the university, or do you want to enroll in the experience-based program that is for the working adult?
Oh, what does that mean, the experience-based program? That sounds good.
For these online universities, a lack of basic academic qualifications simply doesn't matter. Potential customers are told life experience is enough.
Okay, but I wouldn't actually have to take any exams with the university.
Exactly. In this case, you don't need to take the classes and courses or do not provide any kind of examinations at the university. Your degree credentials would look like a normal degree.
It was dubious offers like this that first fired the suspicions of investigative journalist Benjamin Plackett, who writes for the higher education news website Al-Fanar Media.
I got in touch with them and said, my name is Benjamin and I'm looking to do a degree in, I don't know, pharmacology or political science or whatever it was.
It didn't take long for alarm bells to start ringing.
They just sounded so fake that I knew there was something there. It was hilarious. They offered me a scholarship within 10 minutes for 50% because I had once, done a class in political cinema when I was at university, and that was like, oh my gosh, you're eligible for the political cinema scholarship. That's $7,000 off your tuition. And that's obviously never going to happen in the real world.
A whole range of degree and diploma courses are offered, all at a bargain price.
You can get a discount, a minimum discount of 50%, that goes to 85%.
Without having to do any actual studying or take a single exam, the lucky student is soon the proud recipient of an impressive-looking certificate showing that he has been granted a degree from a world-renowned university. 3 months after Benjamin's report, the New York Times published its own investigation, which for the first time identified Exact as the world's biggest degree mill. At first, the New York Times expose of Exact threatened to bring the roof down on the company. The man once charged with ensuring high standards in Pakistan's education system has followed the Exact story closely.
Well, Exact, it came out through a newspaper initially, the New York Times report, where it was published that there were fake degrees being given by a company and they were making a huge amount of money as a result of that. This matter came up before the government, and for a time the operations of Exact were frozen within Pakistan. What needs to be done is to actually go deeper into the issue and have a proper inquiry because Exact claims that the allegations against them were false.
One former senior figure at Pakistan's Federal Investigation Agency, or FIA, has followed their work on the Exact case.
The government has to take proactive action, and when they identified it, naturally, I think FIA appointed the best officer they had at that time. I know him very personally. He's a professional person, an honest officer. And I think initial moves were absolutely fine. They took their computers from Lahore, Islamabad and Karachi. They physically got hold of some person, interviewed them, and they did the link analysis.
All my life, all my money is paid now to university.
And they identified the forensics of the calls made and the payments made and the payments come in the system. Then they raided the place where the degrees were printed and were being sold. So that was a perfect case.
But the story of Exact and the fake degrees was far from over. Karachi is a notoriously violent city. For years, there have been sustained rumors of sinister alliances between Islamist terrorists and rogue elements in the Pakistani intelligence service. The city is also often rocked by fighting between criminal gangs, whose weapon of choice is often the hand grenade. Against this background, the controversy around IT giant Exact and fake degrees has stirred concerns for the safety of some of those linked to the case. After 15 months on remand, Shoaib Ahmed Shaikh was released from prison on bail, and the investigation seemed to grind to a halt. Shaikh refused Undercover Asia's repeated requests for an interview, but we were able to speak to his lawyer.
He has been deprived of not only from his liberty, remain in jail for many months, as well as lost all his business, and after release, he trying to establish his business again and facing a lot of difficulties.
Sheikh's defenders say it was his audacious attempt to break into the Pakistani television market that stung his business rivals into action.
Bold Entertainment presents.
Shaikh was about to launch Bowl, a lavishly funded television network, when the expose by the New York Times broke in 2015. Sheikh's lawyer says his TV rivals were behind the foreign media reports, and it was all designed to tarnish Pakistan's image and to bring down Sheikh's empire.
And immediately thereafter, on 20th May, the offices of the Bowl, the exit offices, and all their directors and the members of the management were taken into custody.
To some observers, the stunning financial success of Exact may explain why they were targeted for investigation.
Pakistan has had a huge growth in IT with annual business of more than $850 million each year. So something good has happened. Now, there may be, and this is what Exact claims, that this growth of IT might have attracted some negative elements outside to target Exact and to undermine this effort.
But the prosecutors who worked on the Exact investigation have little doubt about what had been going on.
देखिए जाली डिग्री तो मेरे ख्याल में ये बहुत बड़ी जुल्म होता है और तालीम के साथ भी जुल्म है और इस माशरे के साथ भी जुल्म है और जाली डिग्री का कारोबार तो अब दुनिया में इतना फैल चुका है.
Lawyer Salahuddin Gandapur was part of the prosecution team building the case against Shaikh and Exact.
देखिए अगर ये डिग्री बनी है तो ये वाइट क्राइम नहीं है, ये क्राइम है. क्योंकि पाकिस्तान का जो कानून है उसका 420, 471, 468 वो मैनिपुलेटेड डॉक्यूमेंट्स या गलत डॉक्यूमेंट को सही बना के शो करना को क्राइम बोलती है और उसकी सज़ा है. देखिए प्रोसिक्यूशन का केस यही है, बाकी तो अदालत ने फैसला करना है. प्रोसिक्यूशन का केस यही है कि वहाँ जो डिग्रियाँ थी वो तमाम जाली थी, कोई यूनिवर्सिटी मौजूद नहीं थी.
As well as the wealth of documentary evidence of fake degrees being produced on an industrial scale by Exact, the prosecution also had detailed statements from some key witnesses.
हमने कोर्ट को दिखाया था कि ये लोग हैं और फिर तफ्तीश के दौरान उनके अपने मुलाजिमीन में से 3 बंदों ने जाना वो कन्फेशनल बयान अदालत के सामने दिया था कि हम ये कारोबार करते थे, जाली डिग्री बनाते थे.
At one stage, the prosecution had close to 80 witnesses. But in Karachi, legal proceedings do not always go smoothly. Prosecution witnesses began to change their minds about testifying against Exact.
तो जाहिर है जो हमारा कानून है उसके मुताबिक उसका ट्रायल होगा और ट्रायल में अगर गवाही आ गई तो कभी नहीं बचेगा और गवाही नहीं आई तो अदालत की तो कोई दुश्मनी उससे नहीं होती है. नहीं आया तो जाहिर है अब गवाह का इस मुल्क के अंदर थी, हो सकता है वो डर रहा हो क्योंकि हमारे पास कवानीन बहुत कम है गवाह की प्रोटेक्शन करने की.
Before the trial court, only 9 witnesses are remaining, and all the witnesses, not a single victim come forward against the exit, against their director accused or other accused with regard to that they have cheated that person they have extorted his money. They have delivered him a fake degree or certificate.
गरीब आदमी जो रोटी रोजी के लिए परेशान है और वो अपनी ज़िंदगी से भी जाए या अपने बच्चे को मरवा दे, तो क्योंकि ज़ाहिर है क्राइम करने वाले के हाथ बड़े लंबे होते हैं, उनके हाथ छोटे नहीं होते.
In Karachi, the local media reported threats of violence and intimidation towards prosecution witnesses, to police investigating Exact, and even to the prosecution lawyers themselves.
कि अगर आप मुकदमे में गवाही उस वक्त तो देते हैं तफ्तीश के दौरान, अदालत में नहीं आते, तो अदालत तो एक प्रोसेस है, उस प्रोसेस के तहत आपको बुलाती है. जब आप नहीं आते तो फिर तो ज़ाहिर है अदालत आपका इंतजार थोड़ी करेगी.
Gandapour and 3 other lawyers withdrew from the prosecution, saying that while there had been no direct pressure, there were some disturbing signs. One said simply, "You know the circumstances of Karachi." There is no evidence that Shaikh or anyone connected with Exact was involved with any such threats or violence. After 15 months of legal arguments and delay, Shaikh and the other senior managers were released on what the prosecution considered a technicality.
कि क्राइम किया था उसने, इसलिए उसकी बेल रिजेक्ट हुई. अदालत ने अगर FIA के वर्जन को तस्लीम किया तो उसका मकसद ये था कि उसने अदालत के सामने उस केस में दम था, इसलिए ऑन मेरिट उसको जमानत नहीं मिली. उसको जमानत मिली है स्टैट्यूटरी डिले पे. स्टैट्यूटरी डिले का प्रोविजन जो है ना हमारा क्रिमिनल प्रोसीजर कोड के अंदर मौजूद है कि अगर कोई मुकदमा 2 साल तक नहीं चलेगा या 1 साल तक नहीं चलेगा, जिसकी सज़ा 10 साल है, तो उसको बेल पे रिहाई मिलेगी और उसको उसी बुनियाद पे बेल मिली. डिले की इसकी वजह यह है कि ये एक ऐसा टेक्निकल क्राइम था कि FIA को तफ्तीश में भी बहुत ज़्यादा दिक्कतें थी.
To his defenders, Shaikh was freed because the case against him fell apart.
Therefore, it is a case of no evidence. So far, the witnesses, those who have been recorded their statements, and only 9 formal witnesses are remaining. So prosecution has failed to establish its case since the very beginning.
As the prosecution case began to crumble, the embarrassed authorities asked Zahid Jamil, one of the prosecution lawyers who had withdrawn earlier, to resume the case. Here is Jamil talking about the Exact prosecution on Pakistani television in August 2017.
मुझे थोड़ा हमें एहतियात से बात करनी पड़ेगी, तो अगर मैं पूरे जवाब ना दे सकूं तो प्लीज़ आप माइंड ना कीजिएगा. मेरे ख्याल से ये मेरी अपनी पर्सनल बिलीफ है जो रिकॉर्ड के अंदर हमने पाया, और मैं नहीं, मेरे साथ 2 और भी प्रोसिक्यूटर्स माशाल्लाह थे, 3 थे बल्कि, उन्होंने बेसिकली हम सब की ये कंबाइंड ओपिनियन थी कि ये केस जो है तगड़ा है, इसमें एविडेंस बेतहाशा था. मतलब ऐसा ओपन एंड शट केस है एविडेंस के मामले में कि मतलब इससे बेहतर केस बनाया नहीं जा सकता था.
When he renewed his work on the Exact case, Jamil first received anonymous threats of violence. Then in September 2016, his home was attacked with a hand grenade.
आपसे जो डिमांड थी कि आप ये कीजिए या ना कीजिए, वो पहले आती है या ग्रेनेड का हमला पहले होता है?
सर, पहले तो मुझसे कहा गया था कि आप ये कीजिए, मैंने नहीं किया. चंद चीज़ें थी, इंस्ट्रक्शंस, आई डोंट वांट टू गेट इनटू डिटेल्स. और उसके बाद जब मेरे वापस मेरे ख्याल में लाया जा रहा था, तो उस वक्त ये हमला हुआ है.
No one was injured in the attack, and no evidence has been presented then or since to link it in any way to Exact or Shaikh. Following the grenade attack, Jamil announced that he would play no further part in the Exact prosecution. He also told Undercover Asia that he could not risk giving us an interview. In his earlier interview, Jamil described the high stakes involved in the Exact prosecution.
पाकिस्तान में जो अमाउंट आ रहा था वो दिखाया तो बहुत ज़्यादा जा रहा था कि ये $10 million पर मंथ आ रही है, जो बहुत बड़ी रकम है. ये फैक्ट है.
The U.S. Department of Justice says that Exact has collected at least $140 million from customers worldwide. Tens of thousands of Americans are thought to have bought degrees from universities linked to the company. But no American has been willing to travel to Pakistan to pursue their grievance there.
So this is a perfect case in which there was a issue, there was a complaint, because, you know, technically there were very few people who were involved from Pakistan. Mostly it was from the outside world. So to my understanding, the people living in the outside world did not cooperate. Some of them even refused to come, and because people have refused to come forward, they don't have trust in the systems in Pakistan, the security situation in Pakistan. Here's the money, here's the trouble. Go to the court, have some, you know, the system does not support the honest people coming to the court and give witnesses. What happens when they go back? People are not that much courageous.
Without witnesses willing to appear in court, and with prosecution lawyers too frightened to continue, the once perfect case against Exact collapsed. Two years after being arrested and charged with running the world's biggest degree mill, Shoaib Ahmed Shaikh was freed. And the online universities linked to Exact continue to tout for customers.
If you enroll now and pay $299, then I can get you 75%. The total fee will be sending up to around $2,250.
These are recordings Undercover Asia researchers made to find out what's still on offer from universities linked to Exact.
We offer scholarship on first come first serve, because these scholarships have been offered by the President of the United States. As soon as you are going to pay this amount, you will be able to get the discount.
Shaikh was granted bail by a judge, Pervezul Qadir Memon, who has since admitted to a higher court that he took a bribe of 5 million rupees, that's $45,000 US, to release Shaikh.
The judge who granted the bail recently, he agreed that he took money. In all financial cases, this happens. Because they people don't operate in isolation. They operate with a number of other characters also, normally, because they have the money. And they have free money to give it to people. It's not a matter of power, it's a matter of power of money. And this happens in every country. These cartels, these mafias, they operate together.
Well, this is how, unfortunately, law functions or does not function in Pakistan. So it's absolutely, astonishing what is going on. So, justice delayed is justice denied. So you don't really have proper justice in this country because it just takes far too long for processing.
It's a matter of public record that universities linked to Exact have sold hundreds of thousands of degrees to online students around the world. And some of these degree holders have taken up positions where you very much need genuine qualifications. These lists were seized by the Pakistani authorities when they raided Exact's premises. There are thousands of names of individuals who have been able to take up professional positions, sometimes where safety is an issue, even though these qualifications are bogus. In Southeast Asia alone, we found thousands of fake degree holders in Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand. Some are working as doctors, nurses, teachers, and engineers. That's thousands of people employed in safety-critical jobs while holding bogus qualifications.
The impact of online fraud, if you want to call it that, or bogus universities being online, is that an individual can get a qualification they haven't studied for. That can mean that they actually may be doing a profession, doing a job that requires proper learning. So they may be a teacher, they may be a doctor, they may be a dentist, they may be a nurse. So you don't want that to be, you don't want somebody who's got a bogus qualification doing those jobs.
In 2016, a member of the newly elected government of Myanmar had to issue a humiliating apology after one of his impressive-sounding qualifications turned out to have been purchased from Exact's degree mills. It was revealed that politician U Kya Win's master's and doctorate degrees in finance came from the non-existent Brooklyn Park University. Despite this revelation, U Kya Win continues to serve as Minister for Planning and Finance for Myanmar. Here's another Exact University graduate, Briton Jean Rocky Morrison. For close to 3 decades, he passed himself off as an expert forensic witness and gave evidence in around 700 cases before being exposed as a liar and a cheat.
He ended up being tried and convicted of fraud, went to prison for a number of years, but the thing that made me laugh the most out of the whole process was throughout the case he demanded that the judge called him doctor throughout, even though he bought his PhD online. So there are terrible instances where an individual who has claimed to have a qualification has ended up in a position of authority, and bogus qualifications were part of that problem.
Assuming that these are fake degrees, it could be a huge disaster. Because whether they are medical degrees, then you have medical doctors who are practicing medicine without knowing medicine. If they are accountants, then they are in the field of accountancy without knowing anything about accounts. And this applies across the field in various fields.
Exact degrees are most popular in countries where people have plenty of money to spend. A search of LinkedIn, the popular business social media platform, found more than 3,000 people in the Gulf states boasting about getting degrees from exact-linked universities that we now know to be bogus. They include nurses, finance managers, and engineers.
There is every possibility of a system being misused by anybody. You could be misusing it also if you award the degrees and if you are not caught. So it's very important that the legal system must work efficiently and effectively. And if there's something wrong being done, then there must be fast justice provided. Unfortunately, the legal system in Pakistan is very slow. Cases drag on for years and years and years without any proper result, and that creates a lot of serious issues. So in every sphere of influence, yes, there is a possibility of online education being misused, and the only way to control it is to have a fast and effective justice system to put in place.
There were a lot of people who paid thousands of dollars for these fake degrees. But, they, to my understanding, they knew that they are buying some fake degree, to my understanding.
There's no way of knowing how many of Exact's hundreds of thousands of customers around the world were innocent dupes, and how many were knowingly buying a fake degree to get a job they were not qualified to hold. But we do know who has benefited most. Despite the worldwide media coverage alleging that he was at the center of a massive fraud, Shaikh was allowed to return to business. His TV channel, Bol, continues to broadcast despite a series of damaging claims by former workers.
Hundreds of journalists अभी भी jobless हैं in all Pakistan. कराची में भी है majority, लाहौर में, इस्लामाबाद में, especially जो बोल में चले गए थे. कुछ लोग तो ऐसे थे जो unemployed थे ना, और वो उन्होंने बोल ज्वाइन कर लिया, चलो एक उनको स्पेस मिला. कुछ लोग तो ऐसे थे जो अपनी जॉब्स छोड़ के गए और बड़े बड़े इदारों से गए, इवन के जियो से भी लोग जॉब छोड़ के जो वहाँ गए, तो अब उनका फ्यूचर क्या है? उनका तो आपने कैरियर ख़त्म कर दिया ना, आपने उनका कैरियर ही तबाह कर दिया बहुत सारे लोगों का. अब वो जॉब कब मिले कब नहीं मिले, उसमें क्या उनकी फैमिली क्राइसिस हुए इसी दौरान में, बोल के क्राइसिस में.
Akhtar Shaheen Rind says he was just one of hundreds of media workers who were cheated by Shaikh.
मतलब इतने क्राइसिस में लोग गए हैं, लोगों के बच्चे स्कूल से निकाले गए, लोगों के घरों में फाके हुए, लोगों के मालिक मकान ने घरों से निकाल दिया उनको किराया ना देने के वैसे टाइमली. तो ये सब इन सब चीज़ों का जिम्मेदार शोएब शेख है ना, बोल है, एग्जैक्ट जिम्मेदार है इस सब बातों का, क्योंकि एज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन दे वर रिस्पॉन्सिबल to cater all needs of their employees.
Shaheen Rind says he and other disgruntled Bol workers visited Shaikh when he was still in prison. The IT entrepreneur suggested the problems they were facing were not problems at all.
तो ये भी उन्होंने कहा जेल में कि मेरे पास अगर लैपटॉप हो तो मैं 2 घंटे में आपके सारे ड्यूज जितना पैसा बना सकता हूँ फ्रॉम IT. उन्होंने ये बात की थी हमारे सामने.
Shaheen Rind says he and the other unpaid Bol workers were promised compensation by Shaikh once the dust had settled. They're still waiting.
उस मीटिंग में जो बातें हुई वो काफ़ी इनकरेजिंग थी मेरे लिए ख़ास तौर पे, जो मैंने फील किया। ये लगा कि शोएब शेख साहब जो बात कह रहे हैं वो सही कह रहे हैं और ऐसा ही होगा, और ये हमारे फेवर में, एम्प्लॉयज़ के फेवर में, जो कि अब ये बातें बिल्कुल सब गलत साबित हो गई ना। उनके वादा कोई वफ़ा नहीं हुआ, उनकी चीज़ें कोई वफ़ा नहीं हुई, लेकिन उसके बाद जब वो बाहर भी आ गए, बहाल भी हो गए, बोल रिवाइव भी हो गया, तो उसके बाद भी तो बहुत ही जो अफसोसनाक बात जो मुझे लगती है कि एक दफ़ा भी शोएब शेख साहब ने जो अफेक्टिव्स जिनको उन्होंने ले ऑफ किया था उन सबको बुला के एक दफ़ा भी मीटिंग नहीं की।
Even while Shaikh was behind bars, Exact's fake degree racket carried on worldwide. One of its ringleaders was Umar Hamid, a vice president at Exact. Hamid was sent to the US to continue to defraud members of the public on an industrial scale. He soon drew the attention of the US authorities and was caught in a sting operation for selling fake degrees. In April 2017, Umar Hamid pled guilty in the New York federal court to conspiracy to commit wire fraud on behalf of the Exact degree mill. For his role in a racket that authorities say pulled in at least $140 million from tens of thousands of customers, Hamid was sentenced to 21 months in a US prison. Nearly 3 years after the allegations against Exact first made headlines, fake universities are still out there looking for the next easy mark. Meet teacher Brooks Hart.
For me to teach online, University of Gloucestershire is the best place to be in.
And now meet Tiffany Robert.
In September 2012, I took advantage of a rare opportunity to teach online at North Grove University as an associate professor in the School of Business and Management. Took advantage of a rare opportunity to teach.
Spot the difference? Maybe Brooks Hart and Tiffany Robert are identical twins. Or maybe it's the same person, a jobbing actress reading lines from a script. When we checked, neither Gloucestershire nor North Grove appear on any recognized list of real universities. In Undercover Asia's own phone calls to the bogus universities, their representatives continued to push us to purchase the fake degrees.
With just a couple of $1,000s, I could get an American degree and become a full-fledged chemist. It sounds a little bit too good to be true.
Exactly, it is.
When we revealed that we were making a program exposing their activities, the fake university salesman turned evasive.
Why are you offering worthless degrees for a non-existent university?
It's not existing university. Are you in the United States?
No, I think I went across different websites and you have the exact same layout, exact same live chat, exact same tagline as several other universities online.
It's a live chat merchant.
So you're saying that you're not scamming vulnerable people to buy your worthless degrees?
It is a worthless degree, you're trying to say that?
Yes, exactly.
Well, I don't know if I really trust that because from what I read, you're part of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of universities that are completely fake or are online or are all linked to a company called Exact. Where are you right now? Where are you based?
California, Stockton.
Well, I find that quite confusing because from also what I read, you're actually in an office in Pakistan working for Exact in Karachi. Is that not true?
No, it isn't true.
But how are you linked to Adamsville University, Nixon University, Berkeley University? All your websites are the same. It's completely bizarre.
I'm linked to that university, Olivia. Okay.
In his own calls with some of the other bogus universities, journalist Benjamin Plackett remembers one more defiant response.
But on one occasion, there was this one guy where I confronted him and said, look, you guys are clearly criminals operating out of some office somewhere in the world. I don't know where you are, but you're terrible humans, like you're really scamming people out of money and time. And he just laughed, and it was this really sort of harrowing cackle down the phone. And that was when I really was like, wow, these guys are not nice people, that, you know, they're thugs, that these people are enjoying the fact that they're taking thousands of dollars, thousands of pounds away from people.
While key exact figures like Hamid have been punished overseas for their involvement in the degree mill, in Pakistan, Exact's most powerful executive was released. In January 2018, following more foreign media reports, the Chief Justice of Pakistan said that the scandal has tarnished Pakistan's name, making our heads bow with shame. He's now ordered that the case against Exact be looked at again.
It makes me very sad that Pakistan is being portrayed in a negative light, and it makes me sadder that the whole issue has not been properly legally investigated and a decision taken. We should let the court, the justice take its course, but it needs to be done quickly, not in a matter of years. And that's where the failure of the justice system is.
But in the meantime, those fake universities continue to tout their worthless degrees online. And business is booming.
There was a perfect case. The evidences were okay. But due to loopholes, due to gaps, due to fear of unknown by the number of people involved into it, maybe living abroad, maybe living in Pakistan, the case could not take the turn as it should have taken. And normally the benefit goes to the person, and he got the benefit.